I think maybe we should start a little bit with a description of, L-Acoustics, bring people up to speed with what that company is, and then also a little bit about you and what your relationship with the company is, right? So, who
Absolutely.
is Mike, right?
So
And why did people care?
yeah, who cares? No, I'm just kidding. So I'm Mike Osvedo. I am the business manager for L-Acoustics Creations, which is a subdivision of L-Acoustics. I cover all of the United States and North America. Um, Brand new to the company, it's just under 3 months, but super excited to be a part of it because L-Acoustics is really just a fantastic company. Really, the state of live sound would not be where it is today if it wasn't for L-Acoustics. We are the company that pioneered the line array speaker, which is now the standard when you go to a live show or performance center.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't for the line array speaker, we wouldn't be getting the giant screens that you see when you go to somewhere like Coachella and whatnot, because having the line array made it where you had enough space to do screens and video and allowed the artist to run across the stage and do jumps and spin kicks and stuff. So if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be getting the shows that you have today. And you can go back to our DNA. You can trace it all the way back to '77 when our founder, Christian L, went to a Pink Floyd concert and was kind of a little underwhelmed because it's loud, but he couldn't, pick apart where the guitar says. He couldn't really hear the vocalist. So he was a physicist by trade, and he decided to treat sound like a particle of light, and came up with the line array speaker. And here we are, 30 years later, um, killing it and still changing the game. We're now the number one in immersive audio as well. If you go to Coachella, it's our speakers. If you go to the Hollywood Bowl, it's our speakers. If you go to a residency at Resorts World and you see Gaga, Adele, the Foo Fighters, Chili Peppers, all those artists, they use our speakers. If you watch the Adele special in November, those were our Siva speakers. So we are the speaker of choice for the artists. We are the speaker of choice for the venues. And now, where I come in, L-Acoustics Creations, is we are now entering the residential, commercial, and marine environments. And that's where I'm here. I'm trying to get this in your guys' homes, get this in your guys' showrooms for your customers if you're an
That's
integrator.
awesome, and that's what we're all interested in because we're all like, "How can we too have some of this action?" You
And
know?
and that's how we got started. You had people in the industry or who were adjacent to the industry wanting to get the stuff in their homes, and none of the people who had it, none of the distributors had the experience in the residential market to put this in the residential in a home, and the residential people didn't have access to it. So that's where creations comes about. Is we're going to work with the integrators, we're going to get it into the homes, and the end users are going to have the best experience because they have the world's largest live sound creator working with the best integrators in the world to create a system that's unlike anything else.
That's a pretty cool concept. So you guys have technology that's, kind of time tested in the largest of venues, and you're able
And
to draw from that experience
yeah,
and distill it down to something that can go into a home.
and we're taking speakers and applications that are going through the most rigorous kind of performance standards you would ever have. You need this to sound great for your A-listers, but these are going out in the deserts like Coachella. They're going in. A festival doesn't stop because it starts raining, so all of our stuff is IP rated. You're using thousands and thousands and thousands of watts of power to run a show like Coachella. So all of our hardware can take a beating, and it's going to work.
That's cool. So, one thing that I want to get into a little bit is, kind of the product portfolio. What does this look like when you try and put this stuff into a home? And I want to dig into what do you mean exactly by marine environment? So, are you going under the sea, and you're down there with
No,
SpongeBob and
super
stuff?
yachts. Yeah, we're going on the back of yachts. Is where
Oh,
we're going. Cruise ships, we're already on there, because like I mentioned, all of our stuff is IP rated, so you can just you don't have to worry about it. It can go in the harshest environments and still sound incredible.
that's cool. Now, before we jump into that, I want to say hi to a few people that have popped on. Hi-Fi Haven, hey man, good to have you on the show tonight. Double A is here with us. One day he'll make it to Triple A, or maybe he's trying to go to Single A. I'm not sure which is better in baseball, Triple A or Double A. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
The Double A
Don't
batteries,
ask
I
me.
guess, are bigger than Triple A batteries. one way or the other. Um, my mail is here with us, and it's scrolling. So everybody that's out there in viewer land, please say hi. I can see a whole bunch of folks out there hiding that don't talk a lot. We always want to encourage everyone to jump in with questions, especially when we have uh, this thing that's a little bit different, right? So Mike, maybe we can jump into, what do these products look like? What, and maybe we could pull up pictures and I could pull up a web page or whatnot, but how do people install this stuff in their home?
So you do have to go through a custom integrator. That's the first step is find your custom integrator. Have your If you really want to use our stuff, have your custom integrator reach out to me. Especially here in the U.S., it's me. I'm the only
You're the one.
creations about. I'm the one. So I've got the keys to the car for this kind of thing. So reach out to me. I've got my at the end, I've got a little presentation, but I've got my social media stuff on there. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn and whatnot. But the first step is know what you want to do, find your integrator. Your integrator will reach out to us, and then we will help design it. We've got a whole process that we do to make sure that it is the perfect system for you guys.
That's cool. And I'm gonna pull up the web page here so we can look and see exactly, kind of what's going on now. Is the L-Acoustics Creations going to be on the main L-Acoustics
So
website?
if you go to the main LAcoustics website, on the top right of the page, there's a little link that
Oh,
says
it says our
our
websites.
websites. Creations is there.
All right, let
We
me
have our own domain.
right on. I'm going to share a screen. I'm going to share a Chrome tab and L-Acoustics Creations. All right. So are we seeing this? I'm going to accept all these cookies because your cookies are the best
They're the
cookies.
best.
All
They're French
right.
cookies.
All right. So, right off the bat, we see what looks like two bass bins and then like a line
So
array tops on it.
that's our Ibiza kind of we the way we do it, we have a couple different ways that we would present a system. So we have what's called the archipel systems or the sound systems, which are kind of pre-configured systems that um, we would recommend based off a certain size room and an experience you're looking for. And then we have bespoke, which would be a custom one where we would design it specifically for the room or the application that you're doing. So these ones right here, these are our archipel systems. And the way these are designed is L-Acoustics takes a very scientific approach about everything, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But every single one of those that you saw would give you the exact same experience based off the size of the room. So we
Okay.
have presets and we set them to be at a reference level of 105 dB SPL at the 1.5 meters, depending on the room, and it gets further apart for the bigger rooms. But based off the room, the reference position will be 105 dB, and then the sweet spot and listening area would be at a concert level position of about 95, 96 dB. So our main kind of expression, our main tagline is bring the power of the concert home, bring the power of live music home. We want to replicate the concert experience in your home, outdoor space, on the back of your yacht, in your backyard, wherever you want to put us. Every single one of these systems, based off the size of the room, is going to give you the same experience.
All right. So this kind of calls to me the Ibiza 2.0 DJ supreme DJ setup. Could you imagine, taking a big room in your home, turning it to a disco nightclub, right? Putting some lights, some lasers, and then have this setup in there just jamming.
And that setup, so a lot of people in the industry will call this Texas headphones, because a lot of times you'll see DJs between those stacks, and
Right.
then you have all the house systems as well. But if you go to YouTube and type in pretty much any of your big DJs, David Guetta, Cascade, Steve Aoki, um, you will see their faces in front of our speakers, and you'll almost 100% of the time see that. Cascade on his Instagram, he's posted a couple times. We did this really cool set out in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's this setup. So I mean, these are literally the setups that professional artists are using, and you can absolutely put this in your home.
That's awesome. Now, if you want to do more of a multi-channel surround system for viewing television or theater, that kind of thing. What are we looking at there? Is that like a
So Fiji,
TV?
Hawaii, and Tonga all have multi-channel setups. So if you go to Fiji first, that's kind of our
Okay,
our
we click
quote
there.
unquote entry level. This
Gotcha.
is available in a 2.1 or 5.1. If you keep scrolling down, you'll actually see the 5.1
There we go.
setup. So we do this as a 2.1, 5.1, or bespoke. For our European heritage and DNA, would be custom. So we would go through and design it. So we've done systems that use those main speakers are the X4i, our smallest speaker, but one of our most versatile. That speaker in particular is actually the one that convinced me, like completely sold me on the company. Our lowest, smallest speaker
So
during
you're
my
talking about
interview
this little
process.
guy on
That little
the
one,
pedestal.
it's a 4.5-inch driver. And when I heard that for the first time, I had to work for the company. Like a stereo system, stereo Fiji system, I would say would compete with other systems that, are 30, 40, 50, $60,000, and that's under $10,000 for a stereo system.
Wow, that's crazy. Um, Now, if you so these systems include obviously the speakers, and I assume this is amplification here in the
Correct. So
middle.
that's the amplification controller as well as kind of a DSP. So we call it an amplified controller. So this particular one would be um, the 2XI install version,
Mhm.
and that one, most of our amplifier controllers are a 4x4 DSP, and then it routes it out, and we do different presets based off the application. So if this was going to the Madison Square Garden, it would have a pro level preset. This going through creations into a home space is going to have a slightly different preset that's going to prioritize frequency response and range, and drop it from about 135 dB SPL to, a much more manageable 105 dB
Yeah,
SPL.
135 would not be anything that I would be interested in sitting and listening to. That would be absolutely ridiculously awesome, but it would kill me, I think.
That's above the threshold of pain, and that's what you have to put it at, a stadium to, blow it over
Yeah,
the
for the
first people.
distance. Totally.
Correct. But yeah, in the home you don't want that. So we put a different preset on there to put it around 105 dB, 95 to 105 dB.
Yeah. So this is looking pretty cool. I could see this going into a lot of homes, and maybe if you go bespoke with it and add, a few channels for height stuff. Now, is there a way that you could integrate this in with, kind of the current state of technology for home theater with Atmos processors and that kind of thing?
Absolutely.
So
And you would
what does that look
absolutely
like?
require that. So our system, because we come from Pro Sound, we don't do anything that's specifically for the residential market. Every piece of equipment we make was designed in mind for the pro market, and we're putting it into the home market. So you do end up having to do, get some sort of AVR. We typically recommend Trinoff. I know you
Mhm.
had them on here not too long ago. You had Chuck on.
Right. Yep. Chuck
And
was
then we
on.
also use the Storm Audio, are the two that we mainly recommend just because of how many channels they can do. And then they're just some of the best products on the market. So in our showroom in Westlake Village and, outside of Los Angeles, we have a Altitude 32,
Right.
is what we use for all the video managing and the audio up-resing, for the multi-channel to get over to our system.
No, that sounds quite right to me. That's that's exactly what I would want to do. So I think maybe let's talk a little bit about the kinds of projects that you guys get involved with, and what are people coming to you now saying this is the kind of stuff that I want to do, and is it mostly around home theater, or are people doing different kinds of things in their homes, right? And my assumption is that this is probably going to be, we'll kind of swing over to the larger home kind of scenario and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so it goes. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. We've got some stuff. Our first projects in the U.S. are, some stereo systems, and a multi-channel system going into, an apartment in New York. We've got another showroom. Actually, we've got one of our integrators actually has a full Dolby setup with the X8s, which are the speakers you just pointed out, and some Sivas. And they're doing a whole Dolby theater room that's exclusively L-Acoustic speakers, and then they're also doing our Tonga 2.1 setup as well. So we've got that stuff in the works, but we tend to see a lot of us doing private DJ kind of things in the home, home nightclubs, private nightclubs. I've seen some projects out in Europe where you have these crazy pools that the floor lifts up, dries, and then becomes dance floors. Those are the
Yep.
kind of
Mhm.
places we're seeing our stuff in right now. Um, but then we're also seeing it in multi-purpose places. We've done some projects where it's a golf simulator and a movie theater room in the same place. We're doing a lot of projects where they're utilizing the front speakers to be DJ speakers and party systems, and actually really blowing out the house, and then using the other speakers as the surrounds and the rears and the height elements. So
Sure.
um, pretty much everything we're doing, we're seeing, obviously we're, of course, we're going to see a lot of home theater, custom home theater, um, even just not even full on home theaters, but stereo systems for a TV, or a simple 5.1 for a TV. But then we're also seeing clubs. We're doing a lot of outdoor work because of our speakers are all IP rated. They all can go outside. So we're seeing we've got a few projects overseas where they're putting more than a dozen of our speakers in their backyards surrounding their pools and creating an immersive zone in their pool, and not just doing stereo, actually doing a full immersive system, which is really what we're going for. Honestly, yes, we will absolutely work with a home theater. We will absolutely do a stereo system. We'll do a 5.1. We'll do an Atmos. But what we are trying to really do, and we started this on the pro side, is we started doing immersive audio on the pro side, and we have our own standard called the Blue Space standard, and we have the Ocean. And you kind of mentioned it, but the bed, our it's not a bed, it's a couch. It's called Island, is an immersive zone that is meant to completely encapsulate you with sound. So we do everything from installations at museums where we're doing immersive audio. We do high-end restaurants, bars, and then we're also doing immersive wellness centers in the home as well.
Wellness centers? Talk a little bit more about that. What does that
Yeah,
mean? And while you're doing that, I'm gonna pull up a picture of the island, which I think is pretty cool.
it's the coolest thing in the world. I just watched The Matrix Resurrections and in the island the other day. It was amazing. But wellness centers would be something, you might think of it as like a yoga studio or a meditation zone or something like that.
Okay.
But what makes immersive audio so much better for a zone like that is, I mean, you've all gone to get a massage, or you've all gone to, the gym or done yoga, and it's just, a couple speakers around you and it's stereo. Where with an immersive thing, when you're doing nature sounds, it actually sounds like you're in the woods, you're in the forest, you have stuff behind you, in front of you, right next to you. And it's not just a forest in front of you or behind you, it's a forest all around you. And it is in our Highgate office in London, we have some new stuff coming out that's pretty cool, and I got to experience some forest and ocean sounds, and it's indistinguishable from real life. If you close your eyes, it sounds like you're in the forest. So that's really
So
what we're
this
going
is
for, is immersive.
yeah,
But
it's
we'll do this
interesting.
stuff too.
Yeah, because I'm in the process of taking one of my basement rooms and I'm turning it into a um because I'm not as svelte as I used to be, and so I gotta trying to figure if I build it, I will go, as opposed to a gym where if I pay, I will stay home.
Right.
So, uh, I was thinking through kind of the process of, okay, so, there are lots of different things that I want to be able to do in the room. I want to be able to do some weight training and some calorie burning stuff and that kind of thing. But I also wanted to, since I am, fairly head deep into the whole audio video thing, incorporate that into the system, right? So I was
Right.
thinking through, what if I want to have some meditation time, or if I want to have some yoga time, or if some type of mental clarity relaxation time. I was thinking down that exact same line. How do I build the appropriate kind of immersive system there? That would give you that environment, right? So, like, if I have somebody come in to give me a massage at home, that would be the room. Set up a table there, right? And then you
Absolutely.
have this awesome sound system, you can kind of get into the whole experience.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And we do it 100% differently. So everything we do is 100% science based. So we have a software called Sound Vision, where we will take a 2D drawing of your space. You give us the height dimensions, and we will sketch it up in SketchUp, and then we'll take a 3D rendering in our Sound Vision. It's the exact same software we would do if we were modeling a stadium or a ballpark. We're using the same software for you, these multi-million dollar venues, multi-billion dollar venues, for your house as well, and it'll tell us exactly what speakers that should be there. It'll show you the SPL level that you're getting. So you really know you're getting the right system for the space. But we actually created a standard for immersion where it's not just, using your existing home theater speakers and simulating it. We actually take a scientific approach where you have a speaker every 15 degrees because that's where the human ear can pinpoint sound. So if we have our speakers spread out over 15 degrees, or our main standard for Blue Space is 18.1.12. So 18 speakers around you, um, the subs, and then 12 speakers above you for the height elements. But when you do that and you have that many speakers, it's impossible to discern which speaker the sounds come
Oh,
from. Even when
that
you go to a
you're
movie
talking my
theater,
language.
yeah, a lot of times you go to a movie theater and you can still tell the sound's coming from that particular speaker. It's coming from that speaker. When you go with a full Elisa processed immersive system, you cannot differentiate. You just know that sound's coming from the left. Which speaker? Who knows? Because it's coming from all of them to pinpoint that sound right there.
Yeah, so my mail says, an atmosphere while floating in a pool could be awesome. So can you do this stuff outdoors as well?
We have. So
Okay.
we have some projects that are in the works, that Nick, my counterpart and my boss out in London, has helped design systems where they are putting a full 360-degree coverage of sound in a swimming pool. So you could absolutely do that. We've have some projects. People are putting our stuff on the back of super yachts and doing exactly that, making an immersive experience for a whole deck, including those in the pool. So we absolutely could set up a system where you're floating in the pool and creating an immersive zone for you. Absolutely.
That's awesome. One thing I also want to talk about is, and you've touched on this just a little bit just now, but when you think through the the client integrator manufacturer relationship, right?
Mhm.
How does that work? And I know that you said you had modeling tools and that kind of stuff, but when someone says, "Okay, I want to do this," what does that process look like? So they'll go to an integrator, and do they need to look for one that has a pre-existing relationship with you, or do they just walk in somewhere and say, "Hey, I want L-Acoustics, go."
So right now, that the latter would be what you do. We just started this venture in the U.S. just a couple of months ago. So we're essentially still first inning kind of going. So we're still setting up integrators. So by all means, reach out to your integrator and find out if they have a relationship with us. Tell them to reach out, and I'll have a conversation with anybody and work on that. Or I can recommend integrators in that particular area or find one. But once you have your integrator and they decide L-Acoustics is a feasible option, which it should be. Uh, we
Sure,
will
sure.
work with the engineer at the integrator. They'll give us those drawings, and then we actually will go through and create a proposal. And honestly, this proposal thing was another thing that blew my mind when I saw it. But we will, give you a survey first, and tell us what's important, how many zones, what you're looking for in each zone. Are you looking for immersive? You're looking for stereo, 5.1, 7.1, Dolby Atmos. Cool, you've given us all that. We go through and we design it in sound vision, and then we create this proposal, and it goes through, it has all the documents we made. So it'll have the survey. This is what you told us you want. This is who made it. It'll have the engineer and their contact information from L-Acoustics who made it. It'll have my sales information, so you can reach out to me. And then it will go through and say, this was the scope of work that you said, this was the project you wanted to do, here are the 3D models we made, and here are essentially heat maps. We actually make a heat map so we can visually show you the sound coverage, and it looks like infrared predator vision where you see the colors
Right.
changing based off the coverage and what the sound pressure level at each individual points are. And that's great because if you have, if you're an integrator and you're designing this and you go, hey, the customer has this budget, we'll create the best possible system at that budget, but we're also going to create the system that makes sense. And you can actually have a tangible thing, because with audio, it's hard to say what you're going to gain or what you're going to lose, but we give you the proof. This is the level of performance you're going to lose, and you can see it in a visual way. And then that allows customers to make the most informed decisions. And then we give them, not only do we give them all that, we show all the parts you're going to need. So all the mounting, what speaker wire types of wire you're going to need, what amplification you're going to need. And then we give you the most detailed specs that I've ever seen from a manufacturer on that same proposal. So you literally have
Cool.
everything you would ever need to do this. And then if you decide you want to do it, cut us a PO. We send that stuff out. And then because this stuff is pro level gear, we actually go on site for 100% of installs and calibrate it to make sure that it is the best possible performance, that you're going to get that performance that we mapped, and that you're going to have a safe listening environment, because we don't want it to be at 150 dB in your living room. We're going to make sure it's at a manageable 105, at the max, and then you can listen to it where you're comfortable. So we're going to be a full turnkey solution for all of our integrators. So an integrator can come to us and say, design the audio system. We'll design the audio system. They're responsible for the video, getting the audio to our system, and then we will go out and make sure that it is set up and calibrated correctly.
That's absolutely awesome. And I think that will give people a lot of peace of mind as well, knowing that the manufacturer is there,
We're signing
and
off
part
on every
yeah,
project.
yeah, part and parcel to everything. That's super cool. Now you have some slides that you wanted to go through. Do you want me to pull those up and we can take a look at
Yeah,
them?
we can
We,
pull it
we
up.
might
We'll
have
probably end
covered
up.
a lot of that
We covered a
stuff.
lot of it, so we'll skip through what we don't need to cover. So, L-Acoustics, we shape the future of live sound. Here are some of the big venues we have. There's the YouTube theater that just opened up in Los Angeles. There's the Hollywood Bowl,
Have you been
Ubi.
there, by the way, the YouTube theater?
I started the company the week that we had the Bonnie Bear show, so I didn't get to go, but I guarantee I will be going soon. But it's incredible. Like, the bottom right, you're not really going to be able to read it, but generally when you see reviews for a concert, they talk about the band, the performance. Um, they don't typically talk about the sound system, but the Bonnie Bear show that was in mid-October, most reviews bring up that it is the best sounding system they ever have used. And Bonnie Bear has been a big partner of ours, using our spatial audio to just create experiences that nobody else has ever had. I mean,
That's
we
awesome.
had major celebrities, A-list celebrities, coming out of that and doing interviews saying they've never been to anything like it. So the YouTube Theater is an incredible venue, and we're really happy to be there. Hollywood Bowl, Coachella, we already kind of talked about that, but just to show, these are the type of venues and festivals that we're in.
If you have any A-listers that really want to talk about your system, I'm more than happy to give them a platform.
Excellent. If we
Just send
have
them
one or
my
two want to
way.
do it, absolutely, I'll send them your way. And then L-Acoustics Creations, I brought it. We're bringing the concert home. Here is another image of our island, also kind of paired with the M1 from Seed. We have a partnership with them called Mauna Kea, which uses our island and their M1. We're actually going to be presenting that next month with them in their Beverly Hills showroom. So I'm really excited. I'll be there for that. So if
That's
you're
awesome.
on Seed's distribution list and you got invited, you'll see me there. I'll be there.
So, and for people that don't know, so if you look at the image, in the center is the L Acoustics relaxation zone, right? And the
Correct.
speakers are built into the walls
Correct, and then
of that
also above, so
right,
in that kind of waffled space. So, that space, the island, is a miniaturized version of the ocean system that I described. So there's 18
right.
speakers in that. So the front, there's 13 8.5-inch coaxial drivers, and the back there's another five. And then that gets you to the 18, and then you have, depending on the space, we will dictate how many speakers need to go above you. And then there's two 18-inch woofers down to 15 hertz under the cushions. Um, that
That's
thing is
that's
insane.
outstanding. Yeah, that's
It's
outstanding.
it I watched the Matrix Resurrections the other day in our showroom on there, and it was unlike anything I've ever experienced. And I worked at a movie theater for 3 years. I've worked for Magnolia. I've worked for I've sold hundred multiple six-figure systems, and there's just nothing that compares to that experience. I don't even know how to talk about it and market it, other than I'm just trying to get as many people into my showrooms as possible to experience it, because once you experience it, there's no going back. You want to experience it again. You want to get your customers into there. When I interviewed with the company starting back in June, and I started in October, so it was a long interview process. I could not stop talking about that, and nobody could really grasp it. And I brought my wife over Christmas weekend to watch a movie there, and it blew her mind. Like, it's just one of those things that until you experience it,
You don't
you
know
don't
what you
know.
don't
Like,
know. Yeah,
I'm
you don't know what you
sitting
don't know.
there every single day, and every single day I'm still blown away by it. And it's been 3 months, and I'm in there for 45 minutes to an hour a day in our showroom just playing around, and I'm like a kid in a candy store every single day. Like,
Right on.
it still hasn't gotten old for me. It's still
And
like
your showroom is
60%.
there in California, right?
So we have three showrooms. So we have one in Westlake Village, just outside of Los Angeles. We have
Now,
one
which
in
side of
London.
LA is that on? I lived out there,
It's
but I can't place Westlake Village.
it's near Calabasas, so it's
Okay.
between, yeah, Thousand Oaks, Calabasas.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
we're about half an hour outside of Los Angeles proper.
Yep.
We're where all the celebrities who don't want to live in Los Angeles but want to be close live.
Sure.
So we're out there. So basically halfway between Ventura and Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Then we've got one in
That's
Highgate,
to the
London.
northwestish for people who don't know.
Yeah, close to on the right on the other side of the mountains from Malibu. Like if you just
Right.
cut across the mountains, you're gonna hit Malibu. We've got one in Highgate, London, and then we in just outside of Paris, where our corporate headquarters are. We've got a showroom there that has an ocean
That's cool. And
and an island.
the next time I'm in either of those 3 locations, I'm going to make sure to try and book some time to come in and take some video and see if I can show people what this
Absolutely,
experience looks like. I think that would be super cool.
night or day, reach out to me. I'm happy to bring you in.
Right on. Now, to go back to this image, though, one thing I want to call out to people about this setup that's not obvious if you don't know. So the television is quite large, but it's actually made out of, I think, 4 folding panels. So it folds up into what looks like a square rod, and then it tilts down into the floor,
Yep,
and it totally disappears. It's
it's
it
incredible.
yeah, I've seen the video footage of it, coming up and unfolding and turning, and it's just
And
outstanding.
it's seamless. Like when you go and see it, you don't see the seams from all the folds and everything. Like it just looks like one of the best displays you've ever seen in your life, and they're massive, and they just come up from nowhere. I've seen they put these on the back of yachts, they put these outside next to pools, and they pop up. And they've been using our speakers for some of their displays for quite a while, and so it was just a
Right.
natural. It just came naturally that we were going to work with them for something like this with Mauna Kea.
That's cool.
Um, so absolutely looking forward to this event with them next month.
That's cool.
Um, Kind of talking about our sound spaces. So Ocean is any of our systems with the speakers. Ideally, it's an 18.1.12, but can also be done with slightly less immersive, but much better than you're going to get with a 5.1, 7.1, or even a standard Atmos setup. It can also be done in 12.1.8 and 9.1.4, and then we have the Island, which is the 18.1.12, but shrunk into a 12-foot diameter piece of furniture.
Only 12 feet.
Only 12 feet. Yeah, it's not that big. It looks bigger when you get there. It's only 12 feet, but when you get in there, like you can completely lay out from head to toe and not hit the front. So it's super big. It's super plush, comfy. We have it in like a piano glass black, and then we also have natural, which is what you can see in the photo. But for any integrators who work with interior decorators or woodworkers, you can order it raw and just with the MDF, and then you can have it custom made to match
Right.
whatever interior that you want to do.
Right. Now, and
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 then
that's specifically designed for 2 people?
ideally, so we you put two people. When I visited the London showroom back in October, we had a movie night there, and we did fit a few more people in there. You could fit a few more people in there, but the two is what it's really designed for, to get you that complete immersive.
Awesome.
Um, Experience. We already kind of went over these, but these are our sound systems that are pre-made. Every single one of these is designed to give you the exact same experience. We would change which one we recommend based off the size of the room. The exception is sky. That's generally meant to be the upper elements for a 5.1 or 7.1, or changing it to an Atmos. But you could absolutely do a sky on its own. But that's kind of where we see sky. And then Ibiza is that DJ setup you had. These would be the kind of the pre-made systems, but generally we would custom make a system for you for your room. Unless you explicitly told us, I only want 2.1 or 7.1, we're going to design a system that's going to give you the best coverage.
Right. I need
Uh,
someone that's watching to get a what is it, a Tonga 7.1 installed and let us know what you think. So somebody out there,
and
please do that.
we've got it's not installed yet, but we are going to have a Tonga system on display somewhere in Indiana. We're going to
Oh,
have
nice.
some press releases and stuff like that, but we've got an integrator who is already all in, and they're going to be showcasing our stuff, and I'm really excited that they're going to have that.
If there's
But if
so
you
many companies in Indiana. hi-fi
Indiana's
related.
blowing up. I came
It's
from
really crazy.
Extron previously, and I covered the Midwest, and Indiana was like my busiest state for the last year that I was with Extron. They're absolutely blowing up right now.
I hear you.
Um, just to kind of show you what I mean with the specifications, I'm not going to drain this at all, but if you go across the board under sound pressure level, you see that it hits greater than 117. When you look at the frequency range, it is 100% the same. The only thing that really changes is when you look at the sweet spot and the listening area, that changes because the size of the room, but the acoustic signature is not going to change.
Right.
And that's how we want it. We're bringing the concert experience home. We're giving you the 105 dB, which is the reference level for a front of house engineer or mixer, and then the 96 dB, which is generally what you'd get at a concert everywhere else in that space in the sweet spot. So when you look at our specifications, we're not lying when we say, these are the things we're getting. We're giving you the exact same experience. We're changing out speakers based off the room to give you that zone.
Right.
The other thing that's great is our color options. So our standard is white or gray, dark gray brown. They're not black. They, if you see them, they are a little brown on there. And then we can do custom orders with over 213 colors. So if you want to stand out, or blend in, 213 different ways that you can do that. And we do that with all of our speakers. It doesn't change the IP rating, so they're still, water resistant, waterproof. And then also all the hardware, the brackets, the wall mounts, if you have a sufficiently large space and we're giving you a line array, all the rigging and whatnot can be color matched as well. So it really is just a custom experience. We've got if you go on my Instagram, I actually shared a video not too long ago that was MTV Cribs, but Italy, and somebody had these in this like really nice royal blue. And they really just
That's
wanted it
cool.
to stand out. Um,
Yeah, and just for
kind of
everybody out there, I'll make sure that I add all those links in the notes down below, so you'll be able to find that stuff. It'll take me a little while to get it in there, but those will show up.
this stuff I kind of mentioned earlier, our pamphlets, our project survey, our calibration policy, everything, all these documents you get that prove to you that this is the absolutely best system that you're going to have. And then I mentioned the kind of the heat map, the infrared kind of thing, the predator vision. You can see all the steps that we do in the design, taking a 2D drawing, adding it to 3D. We add the furniture in so we can get an accurate modeling of what it's going to look like. And then you can see right in front of the speakers, you're getting a little bit higher of an SPL, but you're getting an even distribution across. So you're getting a concert level performance anywhere you are in this room. Um, and then you mentioned, earlier you asked, what kind of multi-use spaces, what kind of stuff are we doing? Here's a system that we designed that they wanted a bar, they wanted a dance floor. The dance floor is also the cinema space. So we had to set it up where it can give you that pressure level that you need to feel like you're in a concert, but also give you a great home theater system. So we used our Siva for that. In the bar area, we used Hawaii, which is our two big X8s to give you, a big space because that bar is pretty large. And then in that kind of smaller pool billiards area, we did a Fiji. So like every single zone can be isolated. You can have it all going at the same time, but no matter where you are in that room, you are getting a concert level experience.
That is
Um,
just amazing, dude. That's super
same
cool.
same thing. Another high-end space, bar area, cinema, golf simulator. So this was a 7.1.4 Dolby setup, and then we also had this particular person also wanted to do have a DJ space. So the bottom picture on the right has some actual KS21s and A15s, actual line array style speakers, and the space was large enough that they could justify doing that. So we put it in there. And then for the
Oh,
other
you've got those
spaces,
flown up on the wall then.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
what's great is we actually model it. We put it at the correct height in sound vision and whatnot, so you know that this is the absolute best system for this. So, and then of course, a home theater space where everyone, this is where everyone's mind goes when you think speakers, home theater. So of course we can do that. This is a 7.1.4 Dolby Atmos setup, but we would still model this and make sure we're putting the right speakers in for the space. Um, we will custom do it. I've seen designs where we're using our Siva speakers, which are the long skinny ones. Those are kind of our signature
Hmm.
line. Those are the ones that Adele used at the Griffith Observatory back in November for that CBS special. But we may mix it with X8s for the rears and the backs, and then generally we'll use there are X4Is, our 4-inch ones that I said changed my life in the ceiling. Um, and then so you can kind of see systems we've actually done, DJ systems. We're seeing a lot of people, especially with all the lockdowns and COVID, people are not necessarily wanting to go out to clubs, but they still want to socialize and bring their friends in. So a lot of people are putting in DJ systems in their homes, and you can see, two different DJ systems that we've set up. One is our standard kind of brown black, and then you can see one that was RAL, specialized for this particular zone. But same thing, these were all mapped and zoned to confirm that they will get at least that 90 dB concert level coverage.
Do they come with a DJ too?
No, you gotta do that on your own. I mean, you could hire someone, and then, here are, simpler systems. Here's another one where somebody just wanted a stereo system. So both of these are Tahitis, which is our Siva and our Siva subs. One is being used as a stereo system and stereo for video, and the other one's just music. And then here's a wellness one. I kind of teed this one up, and this is the one you specifically asked about. But this is actually the wellness center that our founder designed for his home. But this has a full immersive zone, so you can see all the speakers around. You can see the X4Is up on the poles and in the ceilings. But this is a completely immersive experience that you can have and
Yeah, I
get you.
love that. I love that
It's
room.
gorgeous.
My wellness center will not quite be this expansive, but it'll be kind of like this, just so everybody knows. Just
But
letting you know.
I mean, that's ultimately we're going to get you what you need. And you mentioned your workout room. We've done quite a few workout rooms and weightlifting rooms, and some of them are just going. We want the loudest system possible, and we're putting our big X8 speakers
Mhm.
in. Some of them are Steve. Some people just want some background music. Like I helped design a system that was going to go in a yoga studio, and we had a big 7.1 system and then a stereo system as well. So we will completely make sure that we are doing it by zone. We're never going to sell you something you don't need. We're going to sell you the system that makes the most sense for your space.
Absolutely makes sense.
And that's all my slides. I didn't want to drain everything and keep it simple. So most of it was pictures because you don't want somebody just reading off a slideshow when you're doing this. But yeah, it's really exciting. Like I get really excited talking about everything we do, and we really just kind of hit the ground running. This year, 2022, is really the year for creations in the U.S. I came in October, but you're gonna start seeing us everywhere. I'm gonna be very aggressive, getting us in every integrator that I can.
That's awesome. So, for everybody that's watching, if you're interested in this equipment, and you find yourself not knowing what to do, you can reach out to me. Everybody knows how to get in contact with me, and I can point you in the right direction. I can get you hooked up with Mike. We can find the right integrator for you. We can point you in a direction to make sure you have a path, to be able to identify what solution will work best for you from L-Acoustics.
Yeah,
So wherever you're
and
at, we can get you sorted.
I'm reading some of the comments, and I like the people that are happy with our naming convention. So our individual speakers have specific names, but all of our pre-made archipel systems, they're all water themed, so they're all islands. So Tahiti, Tonga, Hawaii, Mauna Kea is an island. So yeah, everything we do is right now is water based. So I appreciate everyone in the comments who kind of noticed our interesting naming structure.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, I think we are pushing up on time now. So,
Yeah,
Mike, I just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate you coming on and showing us what I really think is kind of the next evolution of what
really
home-based
is.
entertainment can look like, right? We're moving beyond the standard entertainment room. We can move beyond a theater. We can go into multi-purpose. We can go into what I would consider to be high-end experiences for both theater and music, right? And who wouldn't want to have 4 or 5 friends come over, cue up some music, have your one buddy who styles him or herself as the DJ supreme. They can put on their big helmet and then just party time, right? Especially in the world as it exists today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a game changer. Our company really sees immersive audio being the standard in 10 years. Stereo is great, but stereo it's the past, and we need to move on and find a new dimension for sound.
Cool. Right on. Well, Mike, like I said, thank you so much. But I'm going to go ahead and move to my cleanup section, and I'm going to bid you goodbye for tonight. So take
Thanks
care,
for
sir.
having me. It was a blast.
All right. See ya. All right, folks. We're going to end up the show tonight just with a little more house cleaning. This got cut off at the very beginning. I don't think that on air button caught some of the stuff that I talked about at the very beginning. But so I've created a new channel that is going to be the resting place for all Home Theater Fanatics live videos. So there will continue to be Home Theater Fanatics live, and that's going to be kind of the pre-recorded stuff I do, product reviews and those kinds of things. And the Tuesday live stream will stream there, but it'll also stream to a channel called Home Theater Fanatics Live. And that is where all of the live stream content will live in perpetuity. So if you want to go back and watch an old episode, or if there's something that you saw and you're like, oh, I can't remember this thing, that's where you're going to find the archive of the older live streams. So I'll have links down to that below. You might want to go subscribe to those. It's got a very tiny number of subscribers right now, super brand new. But I thought that would be a little bit easier to keep things split up. I've also started another channel called Master of All Tech. And this will be the channel where I do PC builds and things that are not really associated with home theater and hi-fi and that kind of stuff, because I have a passion for those items as well. And right now there's some crossover on the main channel, and I think people typically want to see a channel that's kind of dedicated to what they're wanting to find content about and not have a lot of stuff kind of all spread around. So that channel's new. I'll have links down below. A lot of folks have come on and subscribed there, but it's brand new as well, and I've repurposed some old content to get it going. But that's up there now. I'm working on a new PC build for 2022, and I'm waiting for all of the stuff to come out at CES, which is happening now, to see what components I want to purchase and put into this new build video, because I'll end up using that as my editing video. I finally have a 3090. So this is so sad, right? So the NVIDIA graphics card, the high end used to be the 3090, the flagship. And so I bought one about a week ago, and I was like, yes, I've got the flagship. And then they announced the 3090 Ti today. I'm like, well, that was good for about 4 days. Score. But nobody will be able to get those anyway. They'll build like 8 of them, and they'll go to some miner somewhere that's mining out some type of altcoin. But anyway, so make sure to check those out below. Thanks so much for watching, and I think we'll go ahead and close it off tonight. Yeah, thank you, Hi-Fi Haven. One of my very first videos that I did when I started my channel a long time ago was a PC build, and it was very popular. So I'll be doing PC builds and some game reviews and virtual reality stuff, maybe some metaverse kind of things out there. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'll keep Home Theater Fanatics going just like it is now, so there won't be any discernible difference there for anyone. And the Tuesday live stream will never end until they put me out to pasture somewhere. So you got plenty more years there. All right, folks. Like I said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.